You're hiking alone. You slip on loose rock and your ankle snaps sideways. You go down hard, and for a few seconds you can't move at all. Somewhere in the trees nearby, something with claws and teeth is watching you. And it doesn't come. That's not luck. That's not the animal being merciful. The real answer is far stranger, and it has almost nothing to do with kindness at all. Every year, hikers, hunters, and researchers walk away from encounters that, on paper, should have killed them. A person collapses from a heart attack in bear country, and the bear wanders off. A hunter falls from a tree stand in mountain lion territory, breaks his spine, and lies there for hours untouched. Search and rescue teams have pulled unconscious hikers out of wolf ranges without a mark on them. If you didn't know better, you'd think these animals were choosing not to attack. And in a strange mechanical way, that's exactly what's happening. To understand why, you have to stop thinking about predators as creatures that want to eat anything weak. That's the part almost everyone gets wrong. A predator's brain isn't running on hunger alone, it's running on risk. And an injured, motionless human is one of the strangest, riskiest objects a wild animal will ever encounter. Start with the single biggest trigger in a predator's nervous system: movement. Nearly every hunting animal on Earth has a visual system tuned specifically to detect motion before it detects shape or detail. This is called the optomotor response, and it's ancient. It's why a cat locks onto a piece of string dragged across the floor but ignores the exact same string sitting still. It's why a wolf can walk within feet of a frozen rabbit and never notice it. Predators aren't scanning the world for prey. They're scanning the world for movement that looks like prey. And running, fleeing, panicking movement is the loudest signal an animal can send. So what happens when that signal disappears? When you fall and stop moving, you stop looking like something worth chasing. Your body stops broadcasting the one frequency predator brains are built to detect. You haven't become invisible. You've become irrelevant to a system that was never designed to notice you in the first place. Isn't it strange that survival, in that moment, comes down to something as simple as staying still? But stillness is only half the story. The other half is what your body is doing chemically, whether you realize it or not. When a threat becomes overwhelming and escape becomes impossible, your nervous system doesn't just choose between fight and flight. There's a third option, older than both, called tonic immobility. Your muscles go rigid or limp, your heart rate can drop. Your pain response can blunt itself almost entirely. This isn't something you consciously decide to do. It's a hardwired shutdown switch, and you share it with almost every prey animal on the planet, from opossums to rabbits to antelope calves frozen in tall grass. Opossums take it to the extreme, and this is where the phrase actually comes from. When a predator corners one, its body collapses into a state that looks exactly like death. Mouth open, tongue out, a foul smell released from its glands, heart rate crashing. It isn't performing. It has no control over it. And here's the part that matters. Many predators lose interest almost immediately because something that isn't moving, isn't warm-blooded looking, and smells like decay is no longer read as prey. It's read as a liability. That word, liability, is the key to almost everything else in this story, because predators are not reckless. A wild animal that gets seriously injured in the field doesn't get stitched up. It doesn't get antibiotics. An infected bite or a broken jaw in the wild is very often a slow death sentence. So every predator on Earth is running a constant, invisible cost-benefit calculation before it commits to an attack. Is this worth the risk? Could this thing hurt me back? And an injured human sends almost every warning sign in that calculation straight into the red zone. Think about what an injured, unfamiliar creature actually represents to a wild animal's brain. It doesn't move like anything the predator recognizes. It doesn't smell like anything the predator has hunted before. Blood in distress can carry chemical signals of illness, and in the wild, illness usually means disease. Biologists have a name for this instinctive caution around sick or injured animals: the landscape of disgust. It describes the very real, very measurable way predators and scavengers alter their behavior to avoid infected or decaying prey, even when food is scarce. Wolves have been observed skipping diseased elk entirely, even midwinter, even hungry. Hyenas will abandon carcasses that show signs of certain infections. The wild isn't reckless about what goes into its mouth. It can't afford to be. There's a chemical layer to this too, one you have even less control over than your muscles. Fear and pain flood your bloodstream with adrenaline and cortisol, and those hormones don't just change how you feel, they change how you smell. Sweat produced under acute stress carries a different chemical signature than ordinary sweat. And a growing body of research shows that other animals, from dogs to horses to rodents, can detect that difference. A predator encountering an injured human isn't just seeing something unfamiliar, it's smelling a chemical cocktail that doesn't match anything on its usual menu, layered with the metallic scent of blood, which in the wild is just as often associated with disease and decay as it is with a fresh, healthy kill. None of it reads as opportunity. Almost all of it reads as warning. Now, layer humans specifically into that equation, and the odds tilt even further in your favor. You don't look, smell, or move like anything a predator's brain has a template for. You walk upright, which almost nothing else in the animal kingdom does at that height. Your silhouette alone is unfamiliar. For millions of years, upright, wide-shouldered shapes have been associated, across nearly the entire animal kingdom, with danger rather than food. This isn't folklore. Researchers studying leopard and lion behavior in parts of Africa have found that predators habituated to upright humans show measurably more hesitation and avoidance than they do toward four-legged prey of a similar size. You are, biologically speaking, an unsolved puzzle, and unsolved puzzles don't get attacked. They get avoided. So if all of this is true, why does history have so many horrifying counterexamples? Why do man-eating tigers exist? Why do lions occasionally stalk injured or sleeping humans in villages near their territory? This is where the exceptions come in, and just like before, they don't break the pattern. They confirm it. Nearly every documented man-eater in recorded history shares the same underlying story. An animal pushed outside its normal risk calculation by desperation. The Champawat tiger, responsible for hundreds of deaths in Nepal and India in the early 1900s, had a broken jaw and shattered teeth from a bullet wound, which left it physically unable to hunt its natural prey. The Tsavo lions in Kenya, famous for killing railway workers in 1898, were later found through isotope analysis to have severe dental disease, including a broken canine tooth and a painful jaw abscess that would have made hunting fast, healthy prey almost impossible. In case after case, when predators break the ancient rule, it's because injury, starvation, or habituation has already broken something inside their own risk calculation first. A healthy predator with healthy options almost never chooses the unfamiliar, unpredictable, high-risk target. It only happens when every safer option has already run out. Does that sound familiar? It should. It's the same pattern you've seen before, just from the opposite direction. An animal desperate enough overrides its instincts. An animal with options never has to. There's one more layer to this, and it might be the strangest one. Scavengers exist specifically to clean up the dead, and you'd assume a motionless, injured human would be the easiest possible meal for something like a vulture or a coyote. But even scavengers hesitate around something that might not actually be dead yet. Movement, breathing, twitching, even the subtle rise and fall of a chest keeps a body classified as potentially alive and potentially dangerous. Vultures have been documented circling for hours, sometimes days, before committing, specifically because a body that might still move is a body that might still fight back. Death, to a scavenger, has to be confirmed before it becomes an opportunity. Stillness alone isn't proof. It's only a strong hint. And this brings you to something almost poetic buried inside all this biology. The instinct that might save your life in a predator encounter is the exact same instinct sitting quietly inside you right now, in situations that have nothing to do with claws or teeth at all. Psychologists call it the freeze response, the third branch of your threat system alongside fight and flight, and it activates far more often than most people realize. It's why you go completely blank in an argument you should be winning. It's why your body locks up during a car accident before your brain even processes what's happening. It's why, in the middle of sudden bad news, you sometimes can't speak, can't move, can't do anything but sit there, That isn't weakness. That's the same ancient circuitry that once decided whether a fallen human got noticed by something with teeth. Your nervous system never stopped running that program. It just found new situations to run it in. Think about the last time you sat in a meeting and someone criticized your work in front of the room. Your face probably didn't show much. Your voice probably stayed level, or maybe it didn't come out at all. Later, walking to your car, the response finally arrived. The words you should have said. The anger you should have shown. Hours too late to matter. That delay isn't a character flaw. It's the same shutdown switch that once kept an opossum alive in a fox's jaws, firing in a context evolution never designed it for. Your body still can't tell the difference between a predator's teeth and a room full of eyes waiting for you to fail. It reaches for the oldest tool it has, which is stillness, and it uses that tool whether the threat is real claws or just the fear of looking weak in front of people you respect. So the wolf that walks past the motionless hiker and the version of you that goes silent and still during a moment of overwhelming stress are, at the deepest biological level, doing the exact same thing. Neither one is choosing weakness. Both are running code written millions of years before either of you existed, code that has one single goal: reduce the signal, reduce the risk, wait it out. None of this means injury guarantees safety, and no wild animal encounter should ever be treated as predictable. Habituated animals, starving animals, injured predators, and cornered predators all break the pattern for their own desperate reasons, just like the Champawat Tiger and the lions of Tsavo did. But under normal conditions, in a healthy ecosystem with healthy animals, the science lines up again and again. Stillness lowers your visibility to a motion-tuned brain. Illness and unfamiliar scent trigger disease avoidance. An unfamiliar, upright shape doesn't match any prey template a predator's mind has ever built, and every single one of those signals pushes a wild animal's internal cost-benefit calculation toward the same conclusion. Walk away. You were never saved by mercy out there. You were saved by math, biology, and millions of years of risk assessment quietly running in the background of a mind that was never yours to begin with. The wolf never chose to spare you. It simply never saw a reason to try. You're hiking alone, you slip on loose rock, and your ankle snaps sideways. You go down hard, and for a few seconds you can't move at all. And somewhere in the trees, something with claws and teeth looks at you, calculates the risk, and decides you were never worth the trouble.